Hello and welcome to National Focus. I am Shakira Pierre. In the headlines, work commenced on clearing of 63 acres of land in Wesley for the international airport, and Prime Minister Honorable Roosevelt Skerrit calls on leaders to play their part in the fight against COVID-19. Details of the headline stories and more when we return. Welcome back. Work has commenced on the clearing of 63 acres of land in Wesley for the construction of the international airport. The work includes the removal of shrubs and debris to facilitate the geotechnical studies for the airport's construction. Prime Minister Honorable Roosevelt Skerrit led a delegation to the site on Monday, where he expressed his satisfaction with the progress of the works thus far.
The lab is completed with all of the necessary lab equipment on island and will be installed in the next few days, including the equipment needed for the geotechnical surveys and studies, which is a very important component for construction. And so we're very satisfied with the quality of work there.
The delegation also visited the former Joe Burton estate in Wesley, where 31 houses are under construction to facilitate the relocation of residents for the construction of the international airports.
And we visited the housing, where about 31 homes are being built for individuals whom we acquired properties from and have agreed for the government to build for them. So, and those homes are on schedule. The quality is excellent. All homes are being constructed by local construction contractors and with a significant number of workers. All the materials procured locally from local suppliers, from tiles to concrete and to cement and to all of the components of galvanized and the lumber. So this is a significant boost to the construction sector.
A detailed report will follow in a subsequent newscast. The government of Dominica, through the Ministry of Health, Wellness and New Health Investment, continues to encourage the public to do what is right and play their part in the fight against COVID-19. This as the country continues its efforts in managing the spike of COVID-19 cases. Prime Minister Honorable Roosevelt Skerrit believes the key to recovery is in the hands of the people. He says the second surge of COVID-19 proves that the virus should not be taken lightly and citizens should not let their guards down.
If we practice the health and safety protocols religiously, we are sure to stem the spread and regain the freedom to move around more freely as we go about the business of our lives. Vaccination, my friends, is also a sure way of regaining control of our lives. Advising that you get vaccinated is not part of any grand scheme to impose on your personal freedoms or to take away your rights. It is simply the prudent and wise thing to do to protect your health and that of the people around you.
Prime Minister Skerrit says persons should start thinking not only of themselves but the greater good of the public. He says the social and economic lives of persons have been impacted and so should be considered.
To what extent are we willing to sacrifice the well-being of our loved ones, of ourselves, and of our country? This is no attempt to guilt trip. It is simply the reality of things. Vaccines work. Over 95% of the people who have tested positive were unvaccinated. And the world over, it is proven that vaccination have a better shot at surviving this virus, while the unvaccinated are at a higher risk of infection. The data, my dear friends, supports this. But luckily in Dominica, we have all the vaccines we need to serve all of you who are eligible.
This week, Dominica is set to receive 46,500 doses of the Pfizer vaccine, a gift from the United States of America. This will allow Dominica to roll out a vaccination campaign for children 12 to 17. Prime Minister Skerrit expressed his gratitude to the U.S. government for their kind donation.
I wish to sincerely urge parents to consider getting their children vaccinated and protected against this virus. The Ministry of Health will provide more details on this rollout in the coming days. And as I have said before, I have no intention of making vaccines mandatory in Dominica. You have all the information available to you. You must make the choice between unproven and unfounded conspiracy theories or reliable data from the scientists and health professionals who have made this their lives' work. I leave the decision to you, my dear people.
As of Friday, August 28, 2021, Dominica has a total of 638 cases, of which 9 are PCR tested and 629 are antigen tested. 48 individuals were discharged with 4 deaths recorded as COVID-19 related. 22,343 people have received their first dose of COVID-19 vaccines, while 20,186 have received their second dose. Join the fight against COVID-19, know your status, get tested, and get vaccinated. Meanwhile, Prime Minister Honorable Roosevelt Skerrit has called on political leaders to play their role in the fight against the COVID-19 pandemic. The call came during his annual Pali program on Sunday.
But the evidence shows that one way out of this pandemic and one way of giving us a fair chance to fight this pandemic is vaccination. And I want to also say to political leaders that you cannot remain silent. Any political leader anywhere in the world, Dominica included, who remains silent on this matter, hoping that there's some political benefit to be had by not encouraging people to take the vaccine when you yourself would have taken the vaccines. Why did you take the vaccine? And if something is good for you, it must be good for somebody, the people whom you're representing. I cannot come to the nation and telling people to take the vaccines when I have not been vaccinated or if I'm not vaccinated? No.
Prime Minister Skerrit says such behavior must not be accepted.
If we are serious about this thing, political leaders who purposely sidestepped their responsibility to encourage their constituents who are supposed to get vaccinated must not be accepted.
Prime Minister Skerrit says, however, the government of Dominica remains committed to ensuring the health and safety of all citizens.
We have to call them out. But the people see you, and the people hear you or don't hear you, but right now I can tell you as a government, our main focus remains the well-being of our people, the health, social, and economic well-being. So we have to press on this and get it going.
You're watching National Focus. More when we return.
This is CARICOM Secretary General Irwin LaRoque. I took the jab, the COVID-19 vaccine. I'm encouraging you, my brothers and sisters, to join me. Take the jab and observe the protocols. We're saving lives and jobs.
Raise your voices high.
Welcome back. Prime Minister and Minister for Finance Honorable Roosevelt Skerrit says government continues to invest heavily in education in Dominica. Prime Minister Skerrit recently approved the payment of $2.9 million to Grambling University. Over the years, many Dominican students have attained degrees from universities in the United States.
We passed the budget on the 3rd of August, and this surge started a couple of days before that. And we have been preoccupied with dealing with this matter. And you always have those challenges, and it's unfortunate that people make big issue out of this thing. In the United States of America, there are many people there are many American citizens who cannot go to school because they cannot afford school. There are many people who cannot afford to pay their student loan in the United States of America. We always quick to try to make mileage on something, and instead of being patient and understanding, just for one school, $2.9 million.
Prime Minister Skerrit says the Dominica Labour Party government is committed to honor its commitment for education to Dominica students.
This government has a record of honoring its commitment. We make a promise to people, we keep it. Sometimes it may take a little longer than we ourselves would like, and certainly those who are the beneficiaries too. But we're committed to this. This government has a track record of investing in education, which is unparalleled in our history. And many people have been able to attain higher education because of the policies of the Dominica Labour Party and its generosity and its commitment to ensuring that we educate our people, we provide them with the skills so that they can live successful lives and contribute to society. So we're committed to this.
The Ministry of Education, Human Resource Planning, Vocational Training and National Excellence received the second highest allocation of 11.8% within the 2021-2022 national budget. The Ministry of Health, Wellness and New Health Investment has confirmed Dominica's COVID death toll has risen to 4. Dominica is currently battling a surge of the COVID-19 virus with a total number of 638 active cases as of Friday, August 27, 2021. Speaking at a press briefing on Friday, Chief Medical Officer Dr. David Johnson explained the 3 most recent deaths were senior citizens who suffered from underlying conditions.
Our second COVID death was a 70-year-old male with underlying condition who was admitted to the COVID isolation unit on August 8, 2021. This patient eventually tested negative on PCR and was discharged for transfer to the Dominica China Friendship Hospital. However, the patient subsequently succumbed to the illness on August 26, 2021. Our third COVID-19 death was a 78-year-old male with underlying condition who was admitted to the COVID-19 isolation unit on August 18, 2021, and he also passed away on August 26, 2021. The fourth COVID-19 death was a 74-year-old female with underlying condition who was admitted to the COVID-19 isolation unit on August 22, 2021, and passed away today, August 27, 2021.
Dr. Johnson encouraged Dominicans to remain vigilant against the virus in efforts to protect the elderly and the immunocompromised.
The ministry is encouraging the public to remain vigilant and adhere to all public health measures and protocols to protect us from the COVID-19 virus. I must emphasize the importance of protecting our elderly during this pandemic, as they are vulnerable and at high risk of developing severe symptoms from the COVID-19 disease.
Meantime, the CMO says protocols set for the reopening of businesses across the island were necessary in order to limit the spread of the virus.
Managing COVID-19 pandemic is indeed complex for all countries. Every country is still grappling in finding the best way to do so. There is no perfect blueprint. Each country has to do a risk assessment of its situation and implement public health and social measures in keeping with international best practices. In lifting some of the restrictive measures during the state of emergency, which ended on August 23, 2021, it was necessary, I repeat, it was necessary to implement specific health protocols to allow business places to reopen and reopen safely.
Protocols set out for barbershops and saloons include frequent sanitization of tools and workstations, enforcing proper hygienic practices from employees and clients, and use of appropriate protective measures.
Owners and managers, operators of these business places should provide training, education materials, and enforcement on proper sanitation, hand washing, respiratory etiquette, use of appropriate protective equipment at their business places. Face masks and face shield must be worn by all employees while performing services. Washable, reusable face masks are not recommended for service providers. All customers should be accommodated by appointment only. Allow adequate time between the conclusion of an appointment and the beginning of the next appointment to ensure proper disinfecting practices.
Dr. Johnson emphasizes the importance of being vaccinated and encouraged the Dominican public at large to take the opportunity to be vaccinated.
It is very important that business owners and employees get vaccinated. We also encourage business business places to have the employee know their status and get antigen tested, it is in the best interest of your business place to do that. Before I end, let me say this. There is sufficient evidence globally and including in Dominica that vaccination works. Vaccination against COVID-19 prevents severe COVID-19 infection, hospitalization, and death. The evidence is clear. Had it not been for vaccination, the impact of COVID-19 disease would be catastrophic.
And now your weather update. A surface to low-level trough is expected to affect the area during the next 24 hours. Light winds, available moisture, and daytime heating could result in occasional cloudiness and localized moderate to heavy afternoon showers with a chance of isolated thunderstorms. People in areas prone to flooding, landslides, and falling rocks should be vigilant during the afternoon period. Slight dust haze will persist during the area during the next 24 hours. Additionally, hot nighttime and daytime temperatures could lead to heat-related stress. The public is advised to take all precautions to avoid complications as a result of these conditions. Slight to moderate seas are anticipated during the next 24 hours, with waves peaking to 5 feet. And that's all for this edition of National Focus. Be sure to follow GIS Dominica on Facebook, YouTube, as well as on Twitter. You can also drop us an email at gis@dominica.gov.dm. From all of us here in the GIS News Production team, I am Shakira Pear. Thanks for watching and stay safe.